Rob, when every media outlet reports the same thing all at once, it's usually because someone has spoken out on background and the club might have perhaps confirmed it. I'm not suggesting, I'm just speculating, Liverpool. And everybody's reporting that Mohamed Salah and Virgil van Dijk's contract renewals are imminent. They're talking a 2-year deal.
Yeah, it seems to be the same story reported in many media outlets. You used to say newspapers. Who buys a newspaper these days? But media outlets. I used to be part of that pack in the local radio station and working for the Press Association up on Merseyside as well. And they called it the Merseyside Mafia. And sometimes you will get that little nod from somebody within the club. And that appears to be what has been happened. And what seems to be coming out is that Salah and Van Dijk are going to sign a 2-year contract, extend their legendary status at Liverpool Football Club. We're just not getting a lot of kind of detail on it, whether there'll be a buyout clause for Salah, for example, after a year if he wanted to go abroad, or if Van Dijk has to play so many games to trigger a 3rd year. But it looks like it's good news for the Liverpool supporters that those two are going to be around for 2 more years after this long, drawn-out saga.
I've said this all along. It's good news, but not at any price. It's good news if, and the early reports seem to indicate this, they're not getting massive pay rises or anything like that, because the reality is skills decline, and I think Van Dijk has played every minute of every game this season, except for some nonsense in the League Cup or something like that, where I think he was substituted a few minutes before time. No, actually, sorry, it was Spurs. It was Spurs away. He came off with like 10 minutes ago. I think that's the only time he's come off in a game this season. So,
and it gives them a chance, the evolution, to find their replacements as they're still around as well, and not ask them to play 45 games a season, I guess, doesn't it?
Yeah, the key thing is the number, and we'll find out whether this was the right decision or not.
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Kevin De Bruyne is leaving Manchester City when his contract expires in June. Rob, some suggest he could team up with that Lionel Messi guy as Inter Miami own his, quote, discovery rights. It's one of those wonderful MLS terms because, of course, Kevin De Bruyne is somebody who needs to be discovered.
I've got a good pal that was a CEO, a president in MLS, and I've tried to get him to explain these things like homegrown players and DPs and discovery rights as well. I believe that discovery rights was back in the day when they were started, was it 30 years ago, starting the MLS, where they may find somebody and go, we found this Gab Marcotti guy and we are putting the discovery rights on him before anybody else. I think most people probably know about the talents of Kevin De Bruyne and his intentions of going to MLS. Maybe it's the fact that nobody knew wanted to go to MLS, and maybe wanted to live in LA as well, rather than maybe go to Colorado or Minnesota. I don't really know. But I think there was a great quote recently that back in the day when we did this kind of thing, we just made, I'll substitute a word here, we made stuff up is what they said.
Yeah, I obviously Inter Miami already have 3 designated players. There are ways around it because...
there's always a way around it.
But...
there's always a deal to be done, as they say over there.
Yeah, I'm not sure that De Bruyne is what Inter Miami need, but I think if he does go to MLS, I think he's going somewhere else. But I'm not convinced he will go to MLS.
Really?
No.
Ooh.
Newcastle scored 3 times in the first half, none of them by Alexander Isak, I might add. And they wrap it up early en route to a 3-0 win away to Leicester, who really are terrible. I mean, honestly, they should rewrite the Premier League season and say, like, no. It's not Southampton or the worst team in the Premier League. It's Leicester. Rob, but Newcastle are rolling along nicely.
Absolutely, yeah. Up to, was it 5th place now? They've got a game in hand as well. They've got that trophy. The fans are just about sobering up after winning at Wembley Stadium as well. So I think they're going well, and especially with the news now, there's that kind of comfort blanket and the insurance that definitely 5 places in the Premier League are going to get you in the Champions League next season.
You're giving away all the stuff we're going to talk about later.
Well, I don't think that's a secret. There's maybe another kind of dimension to that as well, isn't there? But yeah, I think things are going brilliantly up in the northeast of England. I think they're very happy. Gab, Man United play Lyon on Thursday night in the Europa League, but how about the war of words between Andre Onana and Nemanja Matic?
Okay, so I am 100% Team Onana on this one. Onana comes out, and it sounds like it's one of those like giveaway things about you confident, and he said, yeah, they're weaker than we are, essentially, right? He says, we're a better side, which I don't have a problem with. That's not disrespectful. That's his view. And then what does Matic come back with? He says, Onana is one of the worst Manchester United keepers ever. You know, if it were Schmeichel, Van der Sar, De Gea talking, I might listen, but not him. I'm paraphrasing here. Well, first of all, just because you're a good keeper doesn't mean you're not a complete moron who says nonsense, right? So the 2 things are not linked. Just because you think Onana is bad doesn't mean that he's wrong when he says United are better than Lyon. Maybe he's wrong, maybe he's right. We'll find out on the pitch. Onana fires back and says... And he says, like, I'm sorry, I never disrespect opponents. And then he throws in, Unlike some people, I won a trophy at Manchester United. And I did some research on this, and it's true. United won the FA Cup in his first season last year. Whereas, you know how many trophies Nemanja Matic won at Manchester United?
Educate me.
As many as you did. 0. Your trophies came with other clubs. UEFA have rejected a proposal to eliminate extra time in the Champions League knockouts. Does this make sense to you, Rob?
Probably does. I think there's a general belief that there hasn't been a great kind of extra time in many of the cup competitions. It probably helps the TV broadcasters as well, that they know it's going to end on time, and then it's probably the evolution of the game as well. Maybe in a few years' time we'll go to quarters and people get their own way as well. But it probably does make sense. I think that kind of with the loss of the away goals and everything, a bit of that kind of the extra time in the Champions League is maybe old school.
Well, they rejected the proposal, so they're going to keep the extra time.
They're going to keep the extra time.
Oh, 100%. It would have been so stupid to get rid of it.
Oh, really?
This isn't the League Cup. I mean, people actually care about this.
But are they not going to re-look at it again in 20?
No,
they rejected
and
it
should
for
not.
now.
And the reason they're doing this is like, oh no, because players are tired and get injuries. It's not 30 minutes of extra football in the Champions League, which, by the way, only a handful of players actually play, and it's a competition people actually care about and people tune in for. That's not what does it. I mean, this is a stupid proposal. And I'm sorry, broadcasters. Hey, we happen to work for broadcasters too. That's not a good reason either.
The Premier League has spent around £20 million on lawyers, according to the Times, Gab. I assume this is tied, let me guess, to maybe the Manchester City case?
100%. And they'll have to pay even more if they have to pay Manchester City's legal costs, which they might do if they lose.
That's going to be more than that, isn't it?